And I'm gonna let the people in. All right, so we have Stacy's connecting and we have Kaylee in here as well. Oh, there she is. Okay. So
Hi,
go
Mayor.
ahead, Lisa. I'll leave it to you to get started today.
So hello, everyone. I think this is day 70 something of quarantine. And we are just coming in to see how everybody's doing. Hi, Stacy. Hi, Adriana. Hey, Kaylee. Hope you guys are doing well. And my name is Lisa. I'm a parent consultant with CPAC. And over here, where are you? Here.
I'm Leona. I'm also a parent consultant with CPAC. And we have, Adriana is not on video today, but we do have another staff member with us as well. Adriana, if you want to say
hi. Yes, hi everyone. This is Adriana from CPAC as well. Nice to have you all.
Thank you. So we're just checking in to see how everybody's doing. Stacy, how are you doing? Kaylee, how are you doing? How's everything going at your house?
Stressful.
Yeah, and there's new information every day that makes it even more stressful. I also feel like maybe some Facebook memes you see make it even more stressful. Like people are talking about guidelines, and guidelines was actually spelled incorrectly, which I thought was like, wow, that can't be very professional. But so I feel like even when you try to escape to do something quiet for yourself, even if it's just like skimming through Facebook, that could be stressful. Yeah, what's your biggest stressor, Stacy?
I know, I think I went into my worst stressful moment when they scheduled his transition PPT, and I don't feel like distance learning has been a complete success because I don't know what they do at school, but there's a lot more teachers. I'm like by myself and I can't get him to stay focused. So it's like, and then you try to reach out to the teachers and it's like in one ear and out the other. So I don't know if they really care in school.
How old is your son?
He's 5.
Oh yeah, so I have a 5-year-old too. I actually have 2. I have twin 5-year-olds. And distance learning for us, I feel the same exact way. It is definitely, we pick and choose what we're doing. I also made it very clear to the teachers. I was like, listen, this is all about our family's mental health and well-being. So we're going to do pieces of it and we're not going to do pieces of it. What I've done is I've done some of those things, but kind of flipped it to be a lot more fun. So like he has to practice writing his name. My son's name is Milo. He hates writing with a pencil and paper. I'm not going to fight him all the time because he's 5. He has autism. He's just not into it. So we do it with shaving cream. So we'll put it all over the counters, or like our big kitchen, kind of like one of those parts of your counter that sticks out. And I just cover it and he practices it there. And I check that off as, yep, we've done that one. What kind of stuff are they doing that's stressing you out most?
I think it's sometimes it's like so much like they'll download books or reading materials, and it's like that stuff I could be doing on my own. How is this making his academics any better? But then they'll send me forms saying, oh, Kiefer did so great for this part and this part. How do you know? You're not even checking in. How do you know how he's doing? Yeah, it's frustrating because you almost feel like you're in the little learning island all by yourself. Yeah, it's brutal. It's the biggest things that I could say to lessen the stress is to lower your expectations of your academic specialties. Like for me, I was a teacher for 10 years. So you think that this would be a really easy thing for me to do. And it is not, because that's not the role that I've ever played in my child's life. We've been teacher of kindness. We've been teachers of, structure, teachers of routine, teachers of self-care, but I've never been an academic instructor for my kid.
And I also have to kind of think about, do I want to be? Because I know it's going to be that much more of a struggle. So I definitely do the bare minimum of the distance learning, only because that's what works for us. But however, I do a lot more things. Like we planted outside, we were all outside today planting like flowers, and him having to look at it. Okay, we're going to dig a hole. We're going to put the seeds in. We're going to cover it, like looking at, and then making him do the pattern over. So he's repeating this new skill he's learning. And even though it's just gardening, it's something he's really enjoying. His responsibility is now going to be to water the plants every day. Just kind of looking at it as life instruction as opposed to academic instruction, because it is. If you stress yourself out, it's just so much worse. I agree with you.
And then like today he had an I thought I was finally sorry.
No,
I was finally straightened out with all of the OT, the PT, you know, finally being able to get it on teletherapy and everything. Today we sat for the entire 15-minute session, never showed up. It's like they're not, I don't know, it's so unorganized. I can't even begin to,
yeah.
I just want to move out of Waterbury and start another school district.
Yeah, I think I think that it's almost like there's too many chefs in the kitchen. That's like the best way I can think to describe how I'm feeling, how it sounds like you're feeling. And there's just too many people's hands in it, and nobody could really follow through with everything that is promised or expected. We do one telehealth a week, and it's not telehealth. It's his classroom teacher, his speech pathologist, and his OT on. And Milo comes over, says hi, and that's it. And it's mostly me saying, okay, this is what we're doing this week, and this is what we're focusing on. So I'll often ask them what their theme of the week is. So like last week was dinosaurs. This week is construction vehicles. So then we're bringing stuff in as much as we can, but I'm not going to kill myself over it. I don't think you should either, Stacy. I think it's one of those, we do as best we can, and we have to lower our expectations of ourselves to be able to do everything that we do for them anyway, and then add in the academics, you know?
Yeah, therapy in our house isn't working either. We spent our last therapy session, he was hiding under the blanket while she was trying to talk to him, and she's like, Grayson, I can't see you. He goes, I know.
Yeah, of course. That's why I put myself under here.
I was just like, well, you know.
Yeah. No, Milo literally runs away. He's just like, no school, pajamas. He just wants to wear pajamas. That's all he talks about all day. He's wearing pajamas.
What am I?
Yeah.
I got an email today. You guys say this and it's funny. So I got an email today that says my son is refusing to get help in, I think it was music and art, but it was his specials, whatever it was, from his para. And so I said to him, I said, why are you refusing the help? And he goes, I didn't say no. And because they said, can you try to get him to help? And I said, why are you refusing the help? And he said, no, she asked me if I wanted to. I don't want to.
There's a big difference there. Yeah.
He's like, I didn't say no. They asked if I wanted to, and I don't.
I just don't. We haven't done one music thing.
For my son's music class, he's like refusing. He tells me the music teacher that he's got right now hurts his ears because it's a different music teacher.
Yeah.
So I got tired of doing it. In his ears as we're trying to do the music lesson, and I said, I'm sorry, I don't think we're going to be able to do this anymore.
Yeah. We've been doing like mostly dancing in our kitchen and calling that music class because our school's offering it as it's like almost like a bingo board, and you do as many as you can, but we got one. We can dance in the kitchen.
Yeah,
That's not all I have to do.
We get a weekly lesson that we're supposed to do, and it's got you get a choice between A and B for one thing, a choice between A and B for another, and then a book you have to listen to. To be honest, the lady, whoever's doing it, does have a very, very high-pitched voice.
You're like,
It is
I don't
a little
even
hard.
do it.
It is a little hard on my ears too. So to
And
a kid who has sensory issues,
And I
it's
was
probably
just gonna
gonna
say
make
with
worse.
sensory issues.
Yeah, a
Love
sensory
it.
kid is going to have a hard time doing it. Milo, when he first went to pre-K like 2 years ago, his teacher would laugh. She was like, "I've never had a kid judge my singing so much at circle time that he refused to go. Like he would just sit and go, 'Oh no,' and like run away. And that's all he ever said at that time. He only said, 'Oh no.' So he would literally run away or throw a fit right when he saw everybody coming together for music. And he did not sit at music until just this past school year. And
Oh
he didn't sit
wow.
at circle time until this past year either. So we don't even attempt any music. He likes to listen to he likes to listen to the Super Mario Brothers theme song.
Oh,
That's his
that's a
jam.
catchy tune. That's a catchy tune.
So he goes, and then sometimes you hear him at night going, do, 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 do. So he knows all the notes. We're going to go with, he can sing it in the right key. We're doing our best.
When my youngest was a little bit younger, he would, and my oldest son he's a pretty talented musician, and he would be practicing, and he wasn't so talented way back then. And so Matthew used to run around the house calling him Squidward.
Oh my.
He does not play the clarinet, but he was Squidward. And so he would just be like, Squidward, Squidward. And then Jonathan learned how to play Mario Brothers.
Yeah, then it was fine.
And then it was perfectly fine. He was no longer Squidward, he was a hero. So
Oh, funny. Yeah, the things that kind of rein them in are just so bizarre.
and it's knowing that, and then knowing what their little, breakdowns and things are. I want to go back to Stacy for a moment and say, Stacy, have you reached out to your district and see if like they can help with some of the?
I'm actually I bits and pieces have before, but now I don't want him to keep getting pushed ahead, and especially this year, I think it's been the most stressful because I've never homeschooled before, so I don't even know if he's getting everything that they supposedly say he's getting, because like yesterday they had their first online class, and every time he did try to talk, because that was very rare, normally he's running around with the screen trying to show off the kitten. And he actually, I'm wondering, and do they really genuinely not hear him? Or are they passing him by? And if that's the case, is that what they were doing in the classroom? Because he has apraxia, so he has a speech disorder. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't think he's getting enough help for that as it is, even before any of this started, because I don't think the school is following the doctor's recommendations. So I don't even know. Hang on, we'll go back out in a minute.
It's almost like all those fears that our kids are getting pushed off when we're not there, we're having a little bit brought to light about maybe they really are getting pushed off. Maybe it's not just our neurotic ideas. I would just keep trying to reach out to the school and saying, listen, this isn't working. I need something else. And just putting it really blatant. Like, hey, nope, this isn't working. Let's figure out something different. Because
that's kind of what I ended up doing. I just got tired. I'm like, nope. And I even told this teacher, like, he's got the math down, like, without any issues. So I told her we're going to hold off on some of the math because he needs more help with his handwriting and his other stuff. I would rather have us work on things he needs help on. So she's actually been really good. She's been sending me extra fluency things to do for him. And like, I just haven't been handing in all the math work. So she's been really good at helping.
Yeah. So, I also don't know when I'm supposed to get any of it done. Like, I have 4 kids, 4 different curriculums, 3 different grades, plus 2 of them have IEPs. So it's additional stuff to what they're already doing. So I'm kind of like, and I know that's where you're at too, Mary. Mm-hmm. It's just all overwhelming. So I have to decide when, like, there's certain parts of the day I'm like, all right, we're done with school today. Like, oh, well, I haven't finished it. I'm like, all right, well, if you want before bed, you could sit down and finish it up. And if not, we'll finish it tomorrow morning. Because on like a beautiful day like today, why are we going to be inside on computers? It's one
Right.
thing when it's like a rainy, gross day. You're like, okay, read a little bit, do this, but so.
Yeah,
I'm
we
with
honestly,
you.
we got 2 things done today. That was it, because I was gone some of the morning, and then I had construction guy here working in the house, which set my kid into a spiral tizzy because of the noise. And I was like, now there's no way for him to sit down and do anything because he's off, and
School's out.
it's done. He's
School's
done.
out for the day. School's out for the day.
Trying to find the time to do it, Lisa, is right, Lisa and Mary. It's so difficult because if you take a moment to do maybe the 16,000 other things that we would maybe do during the day, there's no time. So I don't know. I shared, well, this morning we left very, very early because who was talking about planting outside? Was it you, Lisa?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Matthew, my son, that is his assignment right now for science, is to plant something and to document it growing. So this is very hands-on and exciting for him. And I haven't yet to make it to the store to get something for him to grow. So we went very early this morning to get that done. And it also took me a little while to feel comfortable with him coming with me to the store, to be honest with you. So I probably delayed this longer than it should have been, just out of my own concern, and he really wanted to come.
Yeah.
But anyway, we managed in the store. He likes to touch things, so I was very worried about like a lot of touching, and
Yeah.
I didn't
know,
want to.
I have not
want to
walked
be
into
the
a store.
helicopter mom of a teenager, like, you know. But I did it.
My anxiety is so high that I have not walked into a store since March 12th. And it's,
Oops.
you know, we've done little, we live in Orange, so we have a couple of little kind of mom and pop-up places.
Yeah.
So I've gone to those, we've gotten flowers there. But everything else has been my husband. And now everybody's like, oh, the state's opening up. And my anxiety is even higher, knowing that it was kind of nice that my husband, he's like, well, I have to go to the office once a week, so I'm already out. Let me just do it on the way back, and we'll do it that way. So it was nice and easy. And now, you know, he's going to start going back to work more often, and I'm going to take over all those responsibilities again. And it's like, it's really nerve-wracking. It's really anxiety-driven for me. That how do I mean, Milo wearing a mask is not happening. And I've sewed.
Yeah, Keeper won't put one on either.
No, he'll put it on because I make it out of, like, I made a Paw Patrol one, I made a pirate one, I made all these ones that he would be interested in. And he puts it on, and I take a picture of him, and he goes, all done, and takes it off. And he's like, done. And I was like, oh, good thing I sewed that for you, special to fit your face.
And that's concerning, because if you the CDC guidelines is for school reentry is anybody over the age of 2 with a vaccine.
Yeah, that's not happening.
No,
So,
I mean, but that is that going to be something that's brought into our individual education programs? That these accommodations have to be made for kids.
And you know what, too? If they're entering school and having to keep a 6 distance apart and only one teacher, how is that much better than the crap that they're going through now? Because there's still no socialization.
Yeah.
I mean, you might as well keep it with the BS that we're going through now.
Yeah.
They're home.
The social emotional pieces and the social skills, you know, we've said for so long that, you know, video games, right? Video games are the ones who have taken away the social emotional or the social skills of our children of this generation. How funny is it right now that it's really what's holding some of
their
them
face on purpose.
Right.
Wow.
It is a lot to take in, and I've seen a lot of posts about the guidance out there, and as special education parents, as children, as parents with kids with disabilities, like the guidance is for everybody and everyone's having a hard time of it. But think about us, right? This is extra accommodations. And in some cases, is it the right place? You know, some have immune deficiency disorders or heart disease disorders and might not be able to return to school because it might not be safe, but everybody has to go through this. So if they see some not doing it and we know why, and some doing it, like, how is it all going to manage? It's a lot. I mean, it makes, like Lisa said, she's like, it makes me, my anxiety rises.
I don't see a 5-year-old standing in line without 6 distance apart. Never mind with, I mean, do you really think you're going to get a 5-year-old to stand in line where he's supposed to stand?
Well, I want to see if we can get adults.
I taught in New Haven where we had 30 kids in a class. So I can't imagine going from one part of the hall to the other part of the hall where
Be there forever.
30 times 6. How many feet is that? That they're
Be
gonna
there
be
the whole hallway.
it'll be more than the hallway. Then some people. So I'm like, I
Yeah,
don't know.
I can't
I'm
imagine.
gonna figure it out.
My kid had a hard enough time keeping his hands to himself when we were in school before. I can't imagine how this is gonna go. He's very touchy, like he's gotta touch people. It's just not gonna work.
Yeah. So like Milo will be okay with the social distancing because he has no interest in anybody. He has 3 siblings that he's like, those 3 people are the only people I like. So that part I'm like, Milo's gonna get an A in social distancing. Or one
It's
like
gonna be a new category on the report card, social distancing.
yeah, social distancing. We are gonna rock it. But his twin sister, who's like, hi, 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 all times, she's going to fail it miserably. Miserably. So
She can't do it. She needs her friends.
she's the only girl. That poor child is like, Mom, can I wear a pink dress today? I'm like, I don't care what you wear. Like, why are you even asking me? She's like, I just need to put on some makeup too. I'm like, all right. She has bright red lipstick on every day of quarantine, every single day. I'm like, whatever you need to do to feel a little bit feminine, whatever you want to do. Meanwhile, her twin brother, Milo, also comes out all dolled up because then he's like, oh, do. So she puts funny glitter all over him. Go with it.
At least he has a sister to blame it on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes when I see my makeup brushes touched, I kind of wonder which one. I got all boys.
Yeah. That's so funny. I can never even find my makeup brushes because she steals all of it. So I literally had to go into her like kid makeup to look for my lipstick that I wear that like is bright enough and doesn't like dry my lips out for summer. What were you saying, Casey?
The what?
What were you saying?
Oh no, I was just listening and giggling.
Okay.
And I think, I'm really happy. I was a little nervous that nobody was going to join us today, so thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
And our support calls on Wednesdays is to just, it's Thursday.
All day.
I probably didn't even know what day it was.
Our support calls on Thursday are meant to be just this, to just be able to, talk about what's going on and to just kind of laugh about it, because I think at this point some of us need it, especially on Thursday afternoon. I don't know why. My husband said he was on his way home and that should be a good thing, and I'm like, my anxiety's through the roof today. I think Thursday is my breaking point. Me personally, like once I get to
If
Thursday,
you can wait till Thursday, you're doing something right.
I think I cried a little bit.
I said breaking point. I didn't say.
Yeah, no, I feel like Friday afternoons, I'm like, oh my God. I don't have to I don't know. For some reason, even though it's the weekend and we do nothing different, there's not having that distance learning piece is like, and this weekend we got 3 whole days of it. So
I was just about to say that. So I've never been so excited about a day off, even though the kids never leave the house. Here's our district. Our district is really good about where they put professional development days. So like we get a 4-day weekend for Columbus Day weekend. They put a professional development day that Friday. Like they're strategically placed where us as parents get a nice long weekend. So tomorrow is a professional development half day, which means my youngest son does not have to attend his online course because it falls after the half day. So I am so excited. I hope the teachers have a wonderful PT day, but I've never been so excited about this in my life. I'm like, it's a half a day. And that we get a long weekend. It's very, very exciting.
it's funny because long weekends feel like, any weekend you would think now that we're 70 something days in, that it would be like easy, but it's like, it's great. I love it.
Yeah.
Even though we're gonna do nothing different.
Well, I hope it's gonna rain. I heard on Saturday, but I see the kitten. I'm liking the kitten.
The big one. We have an even littler one. He normally tries to pick him up or pick up the screen. Yeah, that's the extent.
So I did see something about it was.
And we got Cookie. And we got Rookie. But Cookie got to be Cookie I know. Rookie's upstairs sleeping.
Love it. So one of the things that I had seen was like classrooms when they first went live, like that the kids were running around trying to show all their, like, look at, this is our dog, our cat, or this is my, this is my bedroom, or, and the teachers had to really kind of rein them in. It was kind of a cute story. Like, okay, now that we have met everybody's animals. So I had heard one teacher, this was a parent had shared the story with me. She goes, in order to control them, they had to stay where they were, but it almost went back to the show and tell stage where she was like, you can show your favorite like animal, stuffed or real, like, just to kind of get them to focus in. I thought, oh, how funny. We went away from those days, and now, what great thinking outside the box to get kids to do different things, or a great reward at the end of participation, right? So kind of fun. So I wanted to share, if I can, some of our upcoming things that we have going on. So next Tuesday on our 3 p.m. call, because our Tuesday and Thursday switched to 3 p.m. this week. And how is it working out for everybody? Just 3 p.m.? Okay.
First time, but it seems okay.
Good. Before it was 10 a.m. It just seemed really difficult. So
I tried to bring him outside, but I couldn't hear you, so that was a no-go. But it was a learning thing. I know that I have to plan inside.
That's, you know what though? That's good though. We have to do the same thing. I usually have kids coming up around me constantly, so it's a little quiet right now, and it's probably because they're not doing what they're supposed to be honest with you.
I let mine play video games.
My kids like to take this time to do that because they know I'm tied up. So next Tuesday at 3 p.m., we're going to have a conversation with Brian Klumpowitz, the Special Education Division Director for the state of Connecticut. And he's going to talk to us about the latest update on education in Connecticut, which will include ESY discussion. And then next Thursday, these calls are meant to be, like we said, open and be able to talk about everything that's going on. And one of the things that we are constantly talking about is anxiety and everything that's going on. So we're going to have a guest with us. She's an adolescent psychologist at Fairhaven Community Healthcare, and she's going to present with us on helping children with anxiety during COVID and everything that's going on. So we will have a guest with us next week for our conversation. On top of that, we do have our Spanish calls. They are now Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So next week they'll be Wednesday and Friday. And then they have an outreach call on Wednesday at 4 p.m. in Spanish. And Adriana, do you want to talk about the upcoming Family Connections call on June 1st we have going on?
Yes, definitely. So what Leona said, first I want to go back to the Spanish calls. We're trying to confirm to have Brian also on our Wednesday call for our Spanish speaking families. So we will have more on that. And on Monday, June 1st at 4 p.m., we will have CDC ACT Early Ambassador for Connecticut talk to us about setting routines, behavior expectations, and she's going to give us hands-on strategies for parents. And this will be Monday, June 1st at 4 p.m. And we have the information posted on our Facebook page as well. So we hope to see you then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lisa, do you want to talk about next steps?
So next steps, I talked a little bit about it last week, but we're going to do a summer virtual series. So it is 6 weeks, Tuesdays and Thursday nights from 6 to 7:30ish, normally 7:30, 7:45. And next steps is kind of like special education advocacy 101 for parents. And it really kind of helps you understand the laws. It helps you understand your role at the PPT table. It helps you understand what rights your child has, how far to push, how to communicate effectively. It's a dynamic. All of our parent consultants have started out with CPAC taking next steps. So when I took it 2.5 years ago now, I think, in Bridgeport. Leona, where did you take yours?
I took mine in Cromwell about 5 years ago.
Yeah. Adriana, you took Next Steps, didn't you?
Yes, I took Next Steps in 2006 in New London.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, a while ago, so I should probably take it again. That's my favorite training.
But it's such a great, it's so, parents leave there just feeling so much more prepared, so much more confident, so much more ready to kind of go in and really know what their child needs and know how to get it effectively. And also knowing how important a relationship is with the school system and your family, because you're going to be with them till 18 to 21. So you don't want to go in kindergarten. You know, I have a kindergartner and I'm terrified to put him in kindergarten next year because after COVID, all this crazy stuff. And I just want to like start off in a good thing, but really I want to.
It definitely is a wonderful training, Lisa, and I'm glad that you're offering it to the families, and hopefully we will have the same opportunity to offer it to our Spanish-speaking families very soon.
Yes.
I just want to share with you guys a comment that we have on our group chat from Phyllis to everyone. It says, we'll help with virtual PPT. So I think that's also something that you guys would like to address in your chats as well, how to help parents prepare for these virtual PPTs that we are having right now. It's very different than the physical PPTs.
Yeah.
Yes, Adriana and Phil, thank you. And thank you, Adriana, for looking at the chat. It is something that we would like to discuss. We're not positive when we'll get it in, and if PPTs are happening, we can also have that discussion before we have it, if you'd like to have it one-on-one. I'm looking to see if we can have that conversation on 6/4. I wanted to do it on a Tuesday call, but I would like to get it in sooner than later. So it would be the week after next. But if anybody has questions about it, like this is what this time is for. So we can also discuss a little bit about that now. Has anybody been approached by their district to have a PPT?
Yeah, I have one scheduled for the 3rd.
Okay.
Phyllis?
Yes, I have not been contacted, so I was told to contact them because it was due on the 17th and they have not reached out to me yet. And I was told that I can do a virtual versus doing a conference call.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely suggest a virtual versus a conference call because you can see people.
Exactly, and I don't want somebody being on the phone pretending they're there and they're not.
Also, I like that
It looks like this, by the way. It looks like a Zoom meeting, and it kind of functions in the same way. So it's really interesting to see all of the staff in a different environment.
Check out what their houses look like.
Yeah, there's no head of the table when you're like this, right?
Everybody, yeah.
No head of the table.
Gathers on one side and leave you on the other side and say, we're a team.
Right.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
So I have had I've attended several as a support person, and I have had some of my own for my own children. In fact, I have one tomorrow for one of my kids. And I can say from my own standpoint with working with my team, I feel like I'm very blessed to have the team that I work with. But it is still difficult I think the biggest challenge I see is the parents feeling empowered and part of the team, because it can be, look at all of this. So if you're trying to if you're trying to become part of it and somebody else is talking, how, were you heard? Did you feel like you got to say your piece, or is everybody just saying, okay, and you're like, okay. Having the documents shared, do you have them printed in front of you? Can they share their screens? So that's all the stuff that we can definitely talk about, and how things to think about. And just to remember that you are a very important part of that team. That team can't exist without a parent. So
for us, Emmett, my oldest is 10. He has a speech and language processing disorder, kind of dyslexia, and he has epilepsy. And he had his triannual that was supposed to happen in the beginning of April. His evaluations were not completed in time prior to the closure, because obviously we didn't know what was happening. So what our district just reached out to us maybe 2 weeks ago and talked to us quickly about how we're going to sign a paper that says we're agreeing to push it off until school resumes, because we're happy to hold an annual PPT, but we cannot hold his triannual. So we're kind of assuming that he's still eligible based on the little bit of information that they have. The only thing that the concern I brought up was that those evaluations that were not completed are no longer valid after. So then they have to go to like Form B of any evaluations that they started and did not complete. So it is a little bit more complicated, but we chose to push off until the fall, only because I want it to be as valid as possible. But we also wrote a couple of amendments in for ESY if it happens, because it wasn't in his, we had to write an amendment for him to be able to attend. So we wrote.
Lisa, did you hold the annual and just push off the triannual? Did you hold the annual?
We did not. We just kind of discussed, the school psychologist, special education teacher, and me had just kind of a phone call, and we decided to add an amendment of ESY and to keep kind of like a stay put on his current IEP pretty much.
Nice, good.
Only because I need to be in person for it. It's just how I am.
No, and so that's really important to say, because everybody has a different way. So my youngest had his triannual this year. Actually, they both had their triannual this year. I have 2 kids on an IEP. And with my youngest, we were not able, they did not get to complete all the testing in time. So it was a very similar situation. Some of it's done, some of it isn't. And for validity, we have to make sure that those tests that were half completed are redone using the right measures so that we get good scores, so that we get accurate scores, because we don't want to use what was done and then add in what we did 7 months later. Like, that's not a good showing. So we definitely want to.
I'm so happy that I spoke to you before I actually got that call. When I spoke to you, I think 2 days later, I heard from our school psychologist regarding signing off on it. And I was like, okay, whoa. I talked to Leona and I want to talk about this. I didn't actually say Leona, but I was like, so I was thinking, because we had kind of bounced ideas off of each other. And that's the beauty of having a place like CPAC to call and just bounce ideas off of, because we're either in it or we've been in it, or one of our coworkers has been in it.
Trying to hide you.
And we can kind of bounce off of those. So.
No, and it was something, because I knew his training was coming, so it was very concerning to me. My poor husband just got home. And he's essential. So it was very concerning to me on how we were going to do it. So finding the answer to that was really good. So was really important to me. So I'm glad that it was useful to you.
Yeah.
But for all of you, when you attend the PPT, like how Lisa did it was by amendments. We did hold an annual for him, and we pushed off the triannual. And it was pretty much, even though it looked like this, it was pretty much exactly the same thing Lisa was saying. It was a lot of amendments. We're going to revisit. We have to remember that when we're making an IEP for next year, and we'll go into this in a little more detail and have this conversation, but just know these are some of the things that to think about. We're not planning for right now. When we're writing the IEP and developing it, it's for 1 year. Yeah. We're not imagining that this is going to be our situation for 1 year. So make sure that we're addressing the things that would take place in school.
Yeah, I have a question.
No. Yeah. Go ahead, Phyllis.
My daughter's triannual is up. It's supposed to be, like I said, now. But before the school closed, she was in the middle of doing her triannual.
Reevaluations.
And they shut the school down. So they didn't complete it. And I was that was the last thing I had to hand into DDS. So I don't know where to go from there. I mean, for DDS and ask them, has to be start over again, or because everything else is handed in except they wanted that one. They had her old one, but they wanted the up-to-date one because she's in 10th grade. And
yeah, they're going to have to start that one over again.
Really?
If it's incomplete, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
You could ask them to hand in what they have of it to kind of maybe be like the Band-Aid.
Keep it live, like.
but it's not going to be a valid full evaluation. I would say that they're going to have to most likely start over from the beginning.
Is that something possible that they can do over the summer if everything's like up to par?
Normally they wait till the fall. Normally
Yeah.
evaluations are done once throughout the 180-day school year.
Okay,
And
because
You also want them done in person to be the most valid too.
Yeah, it'll be difficult. We don't, ESY is not, we don't know the specifics, so we don't really know how that would look like during summer right now.
okay.
Oh,
Now,
it's a bummer, I'm
I
sorry.
want to know if I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I thought you were saying something. I thought I cut you off. Oh, with the transition. She's in 10th grade, but I want to get a head start with information on what I should know. They're talking about her going to a program after school. They're saying don't let her graduate and get her diploma. But I'm like, do I need to put that in her IEP, write it down so that it won't wait till she get her diploma and say, well, we didn't say this, or we didn't discuss this. What should I do in that area? And should that, if I do the virtual PPT meeting, should that person be there, the coordinator for transition?
So how old is your daughter?
She's 10th grade. She's 16.
At 16, yes. The transition planning needs to take place at that point. What I would suggest is a couple of things so that I'm going to move toward wrapping up our call. So I'm going to direct you. We do have you been on our website, CPAC's website? I
Not
think it's
late.
on Facebook too. I could be, I believe there's a link on Facebook, but we do have 3, it's about transition, and it's broken down into 3 sections, and they were webinars that were held on Zoom and Facebook Live, and they were recorded, and they're wonderful 3-part series on transition, and you're at the perfect place in planning to really watch those and kind of start there. It's just a tremendous starting point. The other thing too is I wrote down transition as a topic that we can talk about because it's never too early to talk about transition. Okay. And we have a couple of people in our office who are wonderful at transition, and so we could ask them to attend and be part of the conversation on it. So I wrote that down, and I think we could do that probably after we do the virtual PPT. But like I said, a tremendous starting point is that 3-part series, and you can watch it at your own pace. It's right on Connecticut Parent Advocacy Center's website, and there's a tab for transition. So it's, I would start there. And of course you can always call us. Our parent consultants, like, we're here. It seems like we're here to talk to you. And I love being able to have conversations in the group and even with each other, because this is sometimes how we get to talk to each other. But you can still call the office. I don't know if anybody can, Adriana, can you put up our number on there just so in the chat? So you can reach out to us and call into the office, and there will be, we will get back to you as soon as we can. Oh, and she put up the link to the, yeah, perfect. Thank you so much, Adriana.
Oh, that's the link to the training. And then there's our
phone number.
Our phone number. Oh.
But you're both awesome. But there's a link to the training, and again, to anybody who's interested in watching it, it really is never too early to talk about transition, and it's starting earlier for children with autism now than it was before. So it's it's a great piece of information. We can definitely have that topic and have some more people on here to talk about transition. Or reach out to us.
Have any of you contemplated keeping your child back, even though the teachers say that academically they're great and blah, blah, blah? I mean, just with everything going on, the whole reason for the ESY was one of the big things for my 5-year-old is they wanted to keep him used to the classroom setting and going to school and, not getting out of the habits. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm ready to just do kindergarten all over again next year. So I don't know what to do with that.
So conversation like that, it's completely, those are personal choice decisions. And I know that there's a lot of people out there who have done it and who have not regretted it. Some who have done it and then kind of adjusted in the future. When you stay back a year, you have to really look at, it's specific to, I'm stumbling, but it's specific to a child is what I want to say. Because if you stay back, you could be taken away from transition at the end.
Mhm.
So what do you want your transition plan to look like? You really have to kind of step forward and say, this is what my child is going to do. Are they going to a 4-year college? Are they going to a 2-year college? Are they staying in a transition program?
Yeah,
And
but
if-
that's where the stress gets worse, is thinking that far into the future. It's hard enough to think of the here and now and not get stressed out. So I can't even think that far ahead without getting upset. So that's
Yeah.
why that's how I'm stuck. I don't know how to make the decisions right now.
No, but those are all the things to have those conversations and to play it in. It is so stressful. It is so stressful. And and it depends on a child. So in different cases, I do know someone who chose to repeat a grade, and that wasn't the right, it was the right decision for years, and then it became a point where they didn't feel it was the right decision and they tried to make adjustments at that time. I can also say, like, two of my kids are use the red jacketed term. So they're burr babies. So one's a September birthday and one's a December birthday. And I chose to put them in the later year, so they're on the later end. It's almost like keeping them back. I personally don't regret that decision. I can't imagine them being a grade ahead where they are right now. Sometimes I think they need to be below. So you kind of have to take it into perspective and think about it on the other term. And it is really hard. I don't think anybody on here could say to think about the future. And just to be clear, we range in children here's age. So for me personally, my children are on an IEP, one's 17 and one's 13. And my 17-year-old is going to be a senior next year. And I think to myself, like, honestly, are we honestly talking about him walking out that door? How is that going to be possible? And what is it going to look like for him? But he's a 4-year college-bound student. So, but he's not ready. So how do you have this discussion? And everybody says the same thing, right? They're going to be this, they're going to be that. You as a parent, in your gut what the right decision is. And sometimes you just have to hash it out and play the pros and cons. And we're here, we'll have that conversation with you. We won't make suggestions to you. We'll just kind of tell you what your options are, what your rights are as a parent, because sometimes, parents do feel it's right. And I've heard parents tell us that the district told them no, or district said yes and they didn't want to. So it can go either which way. So we're here to have those conversations. It's a very individual conversation to have and a very hard conversation to have.
Yeah, but if I don't let them stay back, see, now this is where I get confused. What I'm hearing is they're going to make it harder for me in the future. Or somewhere it's going to be harder for me in the future. So I don't know what to do. I don't know.
How would it be? It's not necessarily going to be harder for you. You just have to look at, and this is where you really have to look at. It's talk about how many years of transition they get. So sometimes not all children on an IEP are going to go into a transition program. It's not necessarily the right thing for everybody. However, if your child looks like they're going to go into a transition program, how many years they have and what services are they going to get then? And again, it's a lot to have that conversation. We can definitely talk about it as a part of our transition conversation. So even those with younger children, transition conversation it's not too advanced for you, never too early to have this conversation. And this is exactly why it would be beneficial. So we're definitely going to put that on there. Phyllis, thank you so much. Transition and virtual PPTs is something that we'll do in conversation. The link is on there. We got it up there. Lisa and Adriana put the phone number into the chat. Please reach out to us. We love to be able to talk to you if your PPTs are coming before we can have the conversation.
Okay. What are your hours if I need to call?
I'm sorry?
What are your hours if I need to call?
So you can call at any time, and you can leave a message. We will call you back within 24 hours.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. All right, thank you. Sorry for coming in.
No, thank you. Thank you. You're valuable. Your additions were very valuable.
Okay, thanks.
So,
How I can go through this and find all the contact information? or-
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. You can call the 860-739-3089. And you literally go in a queue and we open it up and we go to call and it'll be one of 14 of us.
Yep, and so you can go ahead and do that. So we're going to wrap up for today. I just want to thank you guys very much. I hope that everybody has a fabulous long weekend, and a little break from distance learning. And when we come back on Tuesday, 3 p.m. with Brian, and next Thursday we'll be talking about anxiety and COVID and what it means. And we're keep coming with the topics because we'll get them rolled in and we'll get people to support and add, be there to add some extra benefit to everybody. So
Just stay on side, okay?
thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Enjoy.
Yeah, bye.
Bye-bye.